quality of thing was the last one. I first met with David back in the 90s at the Woodhouse Gardens Pavilion in Blandford. I sort of stumbled across it. I haven't managed to stumble away yet. Well, we had some lovely people in that group. Unfortunately, some of them have left on the other road. And then the group moved to a little cafe called Scruples in Barnard Walk. And from there we had some wonderful times at a festival, which then were the first of the major festivals I remember, was at the Crown Hotel in Blandford and in the meeting houses across the road. One particular one, we had Irina Ratushinskaya read to us and stay with us, and of course that was absolutely amazing. It was there I first met with Mandy at that sort of time. On this particular occasion at the Crown Hotel in Blandford, we had this array of bookshelves and paintings. We had music, we had posters of Audrey Hepburn, paintings by Julian Bell, and it was a huge, exciting, very enjoyable festival. At this particular event, there was a poet there who I hope won't mind me reading this poem, which is centred on him and other people. And he was an avid collector of B.S. Johnson. And there was a book there on one of the bookstores called what was it called? The Debit. It was a book about debit balance.
Christy Mallory's own double entry.
That's it. Who was that? Who was that?
That's Kevin.
Who was that?
That's Kevin.
Okay, right. Okay, yes, that was a book. Yes. And I've still got the copy there, much to his chagrin, because he wanted it. So there was a little bit of a to-do. Yes. And the lady in the poem that I'm going to read is not Irina, because she's far too big a topic for me, but Amanda Hemingway, who turned up in an amazing dress, which is very similar to Audrey Hepburn's dress. And she was wearing long gloves and dressed in this black, and she was extremely elegant and soignée. So she came into this poem. Okay, the festival of 1999, where a woman in elbow-length red leather gloves, her svelte body encased in a black sheath, held herself languid as a black swan, until she's provoked into action at the bookstall, where this weighty book lover salivates over B.S. Johnson's Christy Mallory's own double entry, coveting the unbalanced ambiguity, slides his palms over printed ciphers, debited, owed, balance adjusted, the clocking in and out again, lack of settlement in black ink. The lady in black dismisses him with a flash of scarlet lips and gloves, positions herself in the spotlight, is offered a cigarette, accepts under Julian's labyrinth, adjacent to Audrey Hepburn as Holly. The lip-smacking offer rejected, our bibliophile makes his exit, waits for the ferry at Southampton, open-mouthed, can't find the words. And that was that particular festival. This next poem, I'm not really sure why I chose it, except rivers are natural boundaries, and I have quite a strong European sort of leaning, as I'm partly Latvian, and grew up in sort of places like Vienna. So this second poem is a singing river, written in 2 columns, with the river Reka, Fus and the Riviere, while we're here on the Stour, of course. My Basewater Thames, my Vienna's Donau, or Danube, the Paris Seine and the St. Petersburg Neva, all my rivers. Singing river, in the eye of water, in the eye of river, forever I glint. In the blink of camera shutter, in the lens of 1,000 millennia, in the quick of fantasy, I gleam. River, reka, fluss, rivière, I accept silt of man with loose embrace. I shimmer. A salamander shadow, a sleek beast of burden, as if transient. I sibilant, between shimmer, between bubbles, between now, I am confidence. What was will be, with star shiver, I am as eel, slip of tongue, fall from edge. I am of narrative, of lure, of Rhine maiden, syllable. The ID poem is next. So you have to go draw lines a little bit. It's to do with all current situations, not just in Ukraine, but mainly this comes from the connection with Ukraine. My personal connection with that part of Eastern Europe. One of these poems that just come at you, and then you've got to deal with it because it's coming into you and you can't get away from it, and it haunts you till you get it out. And it needs more than one voice. I've asked Mandy to help you read it.
Stand here.
Okay. ID. He thought himself immune, made his way to the pit, body armour in shreds, to unearth corpses, to label them, move them on, bit by bit. After a tea and fag break, in the black rain of soot and ash, a smelt on his face. It hung in skeins on this wizened bush.
His hands slip on the spade. He teases bones as he levies them from the weight of wet clods that stick themselves glumly to his boots. His tongue is thick with molecules of mud. This corpse all but surfaces as his thoughts swirl.
His ID badge, not handed in. It swings on his lanyard. He's to make egg soup. Dunk the heel end of rye loaf in that. Later, he's not messaged his mother to say he is fine. His eye catches on his daughter's rag on his wrist. A scrap of pink tied in a bow she'd struggled with.
This earth's dense. He digs deeper in, steadies himself. And as he turns to the guy next to him, there's a puff and spurt, a release. His jaw cracks, his chest heaves, his eyes brim. The taste of death's in his mouth again.
The wad of earth falls back, caresses his corpse. His child's pink cloth flaps to his lip. That moment, her flighty pigtails come undone, at the nape of her neck, in that hidden space. My next poem is a white bus poem. It's called Missing the Bus. Another poem that came at me in sections and had to be hewed out and wouldn't let me go, so I had to get on with it. Bit strange. Missing the Bus. The haze round the street lamp that evening was mauve. Words tumbled as moths in that white on white bus. I asked quietly, "Do you hear them?" Yet don't ask again. As we travel back from Munich with a tangle of schoolkids, and he caresses my feet in his lap. I don't mention this on a visit to his home, even if his daughter was absent. Words, almost spoken, echo. Last night, a peacock moth knocked at the window, revealed its thorax as it chose to battle up the pane. Feathery antennae faltered, solemn eyes swiveled, the proboscis recoiled. The underside of folded wings hid their secret eye spots. The Viennese name comes. A word on the cusp shifts. Not enough smashed moths now to distort windscreens. Only a memory of wipers choked with their tight remains persists in the switch off of the light, night black. the word pulses. Now, hung white on white opals on the spider's web mirror this instant gleam of clay blue shadows, a winter moth as it settles. The hush of snow blankets these schoolgirls' defiance of frost. Their whisper conjures angel wings. There goes the white on white bus. I said it was a bit strange. My last poem is based on group meetings here at Star Payne. It's centred on one of our oldest contributors, long-time friend, poet, Jeremy. Many will know and love this man, this quiet man, whose poet wife, Kim, has recently died. Love his work, rich in musicality, image, reflection, thinking particularly of his collection of bird life on wide seashore poems. My tribute, thinking of the words printed all the way through, got this poem to be called A Stick of Rock. A stick of rock. The stick of rock chap sits in the corner, orders scampi and chips, blackberry and apple crumble, over background chitter-chatter, a glow of hockey player faces, the smell of coffee. He opens an estuary. He fills in a wide sky over a quiet sea's lull of waves, a lap-lapping, a tide line, a pop-popping slither of bladder-wrack. He winds in the taste of sea, a cree-cree-cree, a flat flip of wings, maybe a Canada goose, calls in a skein of lee swirls, a sky shuffle of light and cloud, like a deck of days that come, go, go, go. He paints a shuffle of crabs, shrimp, water pears in a rock pool. The hush of ammonites, trilobites, those stone footprints, a flux of pterodactyls dressed as black-capped gulls. He transplants the oyster sheen of multiple days, so through his eyes, his words, there's a promise of full-loved canvas, a quintessence of music, over scampi and chips, blackberry and apple crumble, with custard. He's a stick of rock chap who sits in the corner.